Under this episode of Priesthood, we are going to continue from Joshua chapter 3 and then we move to verse 11. But before we begin with verse 11, I want us to note something here. The Lord promised to give the Israelites a land that already had people dwelling in it. This land had its own king and then economy, government, everything was running, but yet God promised to give this land to the Israelites. It doesn't matter how unbelievable the things that God has promised you. Doesn't matter how they look, doesn't matter how they can be. The one that has promised is faithful to fulfill it. You did not do anything to end the promise, so you don't have to doubt it, no matter how big it is. Because the promise of God for the Israelites is such a promise that is easy to doubt. How can you say you will give us a land when there are people there? This land had already had their structure, they had their economy running, they had their own currency. Everything seems to be perfect. So how do we intend to take this land? Some of us, we have received the word from the Lord for our future, several wonderful things, beautiful things from the mouth of God. Some of us have seen visions, we had dreams, we got confirmations from His ministers, from the word of the Lord, and many other mediums. And then those things you hear seems to be too real to be true. Sometimes some things can be too real to be true. Then you are wondering how. Maybe God is telling you you are going to be the best in your department, and then you are wondering how. With all these grades that I used to have, how will I even meet up? Don't doubt God. Doubt your doubts. Don't doubt God, doubt your fears. Are you there? The one that has promised you, this is the word of the Lord to someone. The one that has promised you is faithful to fulfill the promise. All you need to do is to keep trusting, keep believing, keep loving on God. That's all. But the word of the Lord to you this morning, before I proceed with the teaching, is that the one that has promised you is faithful to fulfill His promises. The one that has spoken to you is faithful to bring to pass every word that He has spoken to you. Now, verse 13, it shall come to pass as soon as the soles of the feet of the priest that bear the ark of the Lord of all the earth, shall rest in the waters of Jordan, that the waters of Jordan shall be cut off from the waters that come down from above, and they shall stand upon an heap. And it came to pass, when the people removed from their tents to pass over Jordan, as the priest bearing the ark of the covenant before the people, and as they that bear the ark will come unto Jordan, and the feet of the priest that bear the ark were dipped into the brim of the water, for Jordan overflowed all its banks all the time of harvest, that the water which came down from above stood and rose up upon an heap, very far from the city Hadam, that is beside Zaratan. And those that came down towards the sea of the plain, even the salt sea, failed, and were cut off, and the people passed over right against Jericho. Now, this was what happened here. When the priest carried the ark, they were ahead of the people. The reason they were ahead of the people is because they were carrying the ark. So whosoever carries the ark is qualified to lead. So the priest carrying the ark, they were the one ahead of the people. So the other people were following them. They take the lead while others were following. So if you want to lead, take the ark. If you want to lead, carry the ark. You cannot lead others if you don't have the ark. So the priest that carried the ark, they were the one leading, others were following. Are you there? Whatever direction they turn, that's where others will turn. Many want to be a leader, but they don't know how. There are many things we desire, but we don't even know how. How to lead, are you there? Is to carry the ark. And I told you the ark symbolizes the word of God, the presence of God. So if you have Him in you, then you have the ark in you. And that qualifies you to lead. You cannot lead God's people if you are not among God's children. So God will not bring He will not bring an alien to lead His people. So God chooses leaders for His people from His people. He chooses leader for His people from His people. So everybody desires leadership, but we must understand one basic rule: you need to carry the ark. It is only those that carry the ark that goes ahead. So if you want to move further in life, carry the ark. If you want to keep increasing, keep going forward, carry the ark. If you want to maintain your position as the head, carry the ark. That's what will empower you. Not only to maintain your position and to sustain it, but to continue moving ahead. Because as long as you carry the ark of God, you become a worthy example for others to follow. Let's note that from here. Verse 11. Now, therefore, take you 12 men out of the tribes of Israel, out of every tribe. Don't forget that. Don't forget that. There are 12 tribes in Israel. So, to take 12 men means that they will have to take one from each of the tribes. It's just like a country that has 12 states. So if you are to pick one person, and either if you are to pick 12 people to represent each of the states, then that means you have one from each state. That's the exact thing that is happening here. But let's go to verse 11. Behold, the ark of the covenant of the Lord of all the earth passeth over before you into Jordan. Can you see? This is, another description of God. Joshua described God as the Lord of all the earth. The Lord of all the earth. There's this song that says, "You are the Lord of heaven and the earth." That's it. So the God we are serving is the Lord of all the earth, meaning that He is sovereign. All the earth are subject to Him. His decision is final. Are you there? So they may be Lord on earth. There may be kings on earth. There may be rulers on earth. There may be presidents on earth. But this God is the Lord of all the earth. So the Lord of both the living and the non-living. Are you there? The Lord of lords. Are you there? So just in case there are lords on the earth, He will now be the Lord of those lords. That's why He is called the King of Kings, meaning that He's the King of all the earth. So if there are any other kings, then He is their king. Are you getting what I'm saying? And then something very interesting happened. The priests were carrying the ark, and then they were the first person to step into the waters. Now the question is, what if they step into the water and nothing happened? And they keep going, and the water keep swallowing them. They keep going, keep swallowing them. So they are likely to be the first person to die. So when they die, others will not die because once others see that the priests are there, the water has swallowed them up. Of course, the rest will escape for their lives. So being a leader is not just about going ahead; it's also about facing challenges. Just imagine the water did not part. Who are the set of people that are likely to die first? That's the priest. And as a priest, don't forget you are expected to be a priest. What qualifies you to be a priest is a sound relationship with Jesus. Once you are sure that you have a relationship, not by confession now, I mean, you have a relationship. I mean, a relationship that is visible on daily basis. So once you are sure you have a relationship, you are a priest. Are you there? But you must understand that one of the peculiar things, one of the things that are peculiar to priests is divine instructions. There are many things God will ask you to do that does not seem to make sense. For example, carry the ark. They carried it. And then suddenly ahead of them there's this mighty sea. And then the Bible describes Jordan that at that season, Jordan was overflowing its banks. What it means is that the sea, is so full that is going beyond its banks, meaning is extending to other parts that naturally the sea doesn't extend to. That's to tell you how full the water is. So that was the condition of Jordan at this time. And then the instruction was that the priest should be the first to enter into the water. So what if nothing happens? So that means they die first. So if you are carrying the ark, are you there? And you are before the people, expect certain instructions that only faith can reason. You see, when God speaks, don't reason with your brain. Reason with faith. Faith is the spiritual brain with which you reason the word of the Lord. If you don't have faith, you cannot reason the reasonable word of the Lord. Are you there? In an acceptable manner. So what helps you to reason the word of the Lord? Are you there? To think about it, to make sense from it is your faith. Step into the sea. And then none of them, just imagine they were saying, which of the sea? This one. This one that is overflowing his bank. What if we die? No. There was no doubt. They all believed. Believed. Faith. Are you there? Faith. So being a priest is also a function of your faith. Your faith in God. Because every instructions from the Lord will require the faith of God to carry out. There's nothing God will ask you to do that you can do by yourself, by your strength, by your will, without the faith of God. Not one. There's no instructions from the Lord that can be obeyed without the faith of God. Not one. Verse 17. And the priest that bare the ark of the covenant of the Lord stood firm on dry ground in the midst of Jordan, and all the Israelites passed over on dry ground until all the people were passed clean over Jordan. Can you see that? The moment the priest stepped into Jordan, the water parted. In the days of Moses, Moses had to stretch the rod because at that time there was no ark. So the rod in the hand of Moses was representing the ark on the shoulder of the priest. So when Moses started his ministry, there was no covenant that could, bring the ark into reality. So the rod of Moses was actually performing the exact function of the ark. So because during that time it was just a rod, Moses had to stretch it. So when he stretched his rod to the sea parted. But now, in the ministry of Joshua, we now have an ark. In those days, you discover that even Aaron had a rod. That was why the Bible told us that the rod of Aaron budded when there was this controversy about who will lead, and then everybody dropped their rod. So in those days, it's common for priests to have rods because that to them is like the ark of God. But after some time, rod was no longer popular. And what was now in vogue is the ark. Rod on the hand, but the ark for the shoulder. But now in the New Testament, the ark is no longer for the shoulder, it's now inside of us. So there's this metamorphosis, there's this gradual spiritual civilization. Moses used the rod, for the hand. During the ministry of Moses, during the ministry of Joshua, it was an ark which will be bore on the shoulder. Now in the New Testament, the position has changed. It's now inside of us. So in the hand, on the shoulder, and inside of us. Look at those positions. So one of the signs to show that you are also growing in the faith is position. Where were you and where are you? One of the signs to show that you are a Christian is your position. Where were you and where are you? Are you there? One of the signs to show that you have a sound relationship with God is also position. What were you doing before and what are you doing now? Are you there? Where, what is your desire? What has been your desire, and now what is still your desire? Is it still the same thing? Right. So these are the things to consider. So we have to discern position. Are you there? Understanding posture is very important in discerning your state in God, your level in God. Are you get what I'm saying? The sea saw it and fled, and Jordan was driven back. Are you there? So there are two seas, scripturally speaking, that saw it and they fled. The first sea that saw it and fled was the Red Sea. And what was the it that the Red Sea saw and fled? It was the rod of Moses, because the rod of Moses at that time was representing the ark of God. So the Red Sea saw it, the rod of Moses, which is the ark of God, and fled. The word fled there is a description of the parting of the waters, the parting of the sea. So when a sea parts, you can say it fled. So this is just a figurative description of what happened. Are you there? In figure of speech, this kind of expression is called personification, where you give the attributes of a living thing to a non-living thing, and then non-living to living, vice versa. Are you with me? So only a human being can run, but that attribute for a living was given to a non-living. That's personification. So it's a figurative expression to describe what actually happened. So the first sea that saw it and fled was the Red Sea. And the Red Sea saw the rod of Moses and parted. That was the running away that was referred to here. And the second sea that saw it and fled was actually mentioned, and that's Jordan. So the first sea was during the time of Moses, the second sea was during the time of Joshua. So I'm doing this to show you something. This event was so significant that the psalmist sang with it. So those things you are reading from this place is actually connected to the experience of the Israelites. As a matter of fact, what happened in the verse we were studying, this verse, Joshua chapter 3, and what happened during the time of Moses. So the two added together, Joshua's time, Moses' time, was what led to the inspiration that was recorded in this place. The inspiration that led to the writing of this chapter. Now let's read through Psalms 114 from verse 1. When Israel went out of Egypt, the house of Jacob, from a people of strange language. So you must understand that Israel is also the same as the house of Jacob. Are you there? So they can call them Israel. They can be referred to as the Israelites. And then they can also refer to them as the house of Jacob. They are the house of Jacob because the nation of Israel came out of the man called Jacob. Are you there? So Israel, that's the name of the country. Israelites, those are the citizens of that country. Are you there? So who are these people with strange language? They are the Egyptians, because the culture and the language of Egypt is totally different from that of Israel. That's why the Bible refers to them as strange language, meaning that expression, strange language, it's not really, it's not derogatory. It's not to mock them as it is. It's just to say that it's just to draw the line, to make you know that the culture of the Egyptians is totally different from the culture of the Israelites. So when you leave your country or you go to another country, you hear a new language that you probably may not be able to speak, and a new language that you probably may not be able to interpret. So because you cannot speak it, because you cannot interpret it, you cannot communicate with it, such a language can be described as a strange language. So a strange language in this context is not derogatory. It's just a way of explaining a language that you cannot probably speak. And then even when you hear people speak it, you cannot interpret it. So it's more or less useless to you. You can't communicate with it. Are you with me? So take note of that. All right, verse 2. Jordan was his sanctuary. Judah was his sanctuary, and Israel his dominion. So Judah is one of the tribes of Israel. Are you there? So Judah being his sanctuary there means Judah was the seat of power. They had the scepter. If you look at the blessings, the things that Jacob said to his 12 sons in the book of Genesis, you will see that one of the things that was said to Judah, was connected to scepter. And scepter has to do with authority. So the seat of power was in Judah because they had authority. They have the scepter. So Judah was his sanctuary and Israel was his dominion, meaning Israel, the entire land of Israel was God's land. The people there were God's own people. Are you with me? And there's a verse of the scripture that gave insight into what happened in this place. Are you there? So they stepped into the water, and then it parted immediately. Immediately. Now the question is, why did the water part? The water actually parted because the ark was on their shoulder. It was not because the priests were special or the clothes they were wearing was really enticing and the sea could not behold their beautiful clothes and then the sea had to run. No, there was no power on their clothes. There was nothing special about them. But what makes all the difference was the ark on their shoulder. So as long as you carry the ark of God inside of you, the sea will part. Your Jordan can be anything. It can be your admission, it can be your success, it can be your breakthrough. But the word of the Lord to you this morning, today is this. As long as you carry the ark, Jordan will part. Many people get to Jordan and they are crying, they are acting helpless. Many of them are saying things they are not supposed to, things they are not supposed to say, making God look like He is not existing because of fear and doubts. When you get to Jordan, all you need to do is to be sure that you carry the ark. As long as you carry the ark, Jordan will part. Don't try to fight it. Many people die in Jordan. They end up drowning to death because they want to they want to swim. You can't swim, Jordan. No. You have to part it. If you must pass through it, then you must part it. If you must pass through Jordan, then you must part Jordan. Don't try to swim. Are you there? Don't try it. Don't even try to construct a bridge. It can take you a lifetime. Carry the ark. The presence of the ark, we position the sea. It will give it position. It will create a path for you in the water. So let's check that verse. I'll bring up the scripture now. Now, verse 4. The mountains skipped like rams, and little hills like lambs. Are you there? So the mountains, they saw it, and they skipped like rams. And then the little hills, they saw it and they also skipped like lambs. Can you see that? So what is the it? So the it here is actually the ark. So the presence of God in you is so powerful that if you carry the ark, if you carry the presence of God, and you face the mountains, are you there? They will skip, meaning they will run. The non-living will now possess the characteristics of living just for you to have your way. That was what Jesus was trying to tell his people. If you have faith as small as a mustard seed, you will command this mountain to be removed, and it will be removed. Now, that you will command this mountain is not necessarily, it doesn't necessarily involve saying something. You will command there can mean your faith will do the commanding. All you need to do is to have the ark. The moment you stand before the mountain will skip like rams in obedience to the instruction of the ark that you carry. And even the young eels, they will skip like lambs if you carry the ark. That's what the Bible was trying to say. I think Luke 1:37. With God, nothing shall be impossible. With God, meaning with the presence of God. As long as you carry the presence of God, even the mountains will skip like rams. The young eels will skip like lambs. Your Jordan will part. It will part. Jordan will see you and run. Not because not because you are special. No. What is special about you? No man is special. What makes humans special is the ark of God that they carry. So until you carry the ark, you are not really special. You are as ordinary as any other person walking around. But what makes you extraordinary? What makes you supernatural is the ark that you carry, which is the presence of God. Verse 5. What ailed thee, O thou sea, that thou fleddest, thou Jordan, that thou was driven back? Can you see this time? The psalmist was now asking questions. You see, why are you running? And Jordan, why are you running? Ye mountains that ye skipped like rams, ye little hills like lambs. There are mountains, why are you running now? And then the little hills, why are you running? It's not common for these health elements to possess human characteristics. So why is this happening? Tremble, thou earth, at the presence of the Lord. Can you see that? The presence of the Lord, at the presence of the God of Jacob. So the ark of the Lord is the presence of the Lord. The ark of the Lord is the presence of the Lord, which turned the rock into standing water, the flint into a fountain of waters. Can you see that? So there is nothing that will be an obstacle. Are you there? There will be no obstacle that you cannot tackle if you carry the ark. Are you there? There will be no obstacle that you cannot tackle if you carry the ark. God bless you. All right, let's start the reading from verse 6. 2 Samuel chapter 6 from verse 6. And when they came to Nachon's threshing floor, Uzzah put forth his hand to the ark of God and took hold of it, for the oxen shook it. Please don't forget that under this episode of Priesthood, we'll be looking at the priesthood of Obed-Edom. The priesthood of Obed-Edom. Now, Obed-Edom means the servant of Obed, the servant of Edom. Obed-Edom, Obed, servant, and Edom is a place. Are you there? So Obed-Edom now means the servant of Edom. So from verse 6 here, we were made to see the reason, what led to Uzzah stretching forth his hand to the ark. It was because, while the ark was going, something happened. It shook. So Uzzah was afraid of, oh, I don't want the ark to fall. So he was afraid of seeing the ark falling, because if the ark falls from the cart, are you there? If the ark falls from the cart, that's a bad sign. So in order to avoid that, Uzzah stretched forth his hands to adjust the ark. But unfortunately, he was killed for doing that. He died immediately. Now, before we get to verse 6, if you study from the beginning, you discover that the ark of God was in the house of these people. Uzzah was there. Uzzah and Hayo, the two of them were familiar with the ark because the ark was actually in their house. They saw the ark on daily basis. So it was from their ark that the King David at that time, requested that the ark should be brought from their house to his own place, to the place that he has prepared for the ark. So originally the ark was in their house. So Uzzah and Ahio, the two of them, they were familiar with the ark. So maybe one of the things that actually moved Uzzah to stretch forth his hands to the ark was maybe familiarity, because the ark has been in their house for a long time. And then when David sent message to them, to bring the ark from their house to the place he has prepared for the ark of God, they decided to render service, maybe a way of doing their last service. Are you there? Just like maybe something has been with you for a long time, and then somebody is requesting for it. You may offer to do your last service. Maybe, okay, don't worry, just to honor you, I'm going to bring it to your place. Are you there? So Uzzah and Ahio, they decided to offer their last service, because now the ark is leaving their house. So Ahio decided to go before the ark, and the reason for that is to clear the way, because the ark is on a cart. I'm going to send you the picture of a cart. Are you there? A cart is, a cart contains a carriage that is tied to, a horse. It can be one horse, it can be two, it can be three, depends on the structure of the cart. Are you there? So Ahio went ahead of the cart to clear the way, while Uzzah was moving by the side of the cart. So they just decided to do these things so that at least just to render service, because that's the last time they will be, they will have close range access to the ark. So Uzzah was beside the ark. Ahio was ahead of the ark, clearing the path. Are you there? And this thing the two of them are doing, it's possible that they are doing it on a horse. So it's possible that Uzzah is on a horse and Ahio too is on a horse, clearing the path. So that was why it was easy for him, because Uzzah was beside the cart. It was easy for him to stretch forth his hands to adjust the ark. Are you getting what I'm saying? But you see, a good intention will not justify a wrong act. A good intention will not justify a wrong act. What do I mean? If through your good intention you were able to do something that is unlawful, are you there? For the fact that you are doing that from a good intention will not make the wrong that you have done, it won't make it right. Uzzah was actually stretching forth his hand. He was doing that with a good intention. Oh, I don't want the ark of God to fall, because if the ark falls, that's a bad sign. It can mean that the whole Israelite will be destroyed. He doesn't want something strange to happen. So he stretched forth his hands and he died. So a good intention will not justify a wrong act. Another thing you must notice this. There are some people called the Kohathites. Are you there? There are some people called the Kohathites. Now, the Kohathites, they can carry the ark. But when they want to carry the ark, they carry the ark on staffs. And so there's a long rod by the left and there's a long rod by the right. And so they carry the ark using those the rod. Are you there? So those Kohathites too, though they can carry the ark, but they are not expected to touch the ark. So there are some people that can carry the ark, are you there? Yet not touch the ark, because if they touch it, they will die. So there's a rule, there's a specific law that God has given to the Israelites at that time, that they dare not touch the ark. Are you there? The only person that can touch the ark and live is the priest. Any other person touching the ark will die. It's a written law. It's a written law. Even the Kohathites, if they touch the ark, they will die. So the only thing the Kohathites can do is just to carry the ark. And in carrying the ark, they don't need to touch the ark. They just, they will be holding the staff. And from the staff, they lift the ark to their shoulders and they move it. And then they carefully drop it. That's all. But only the priest can touch the ark. Meanwhile, Uzzah was a Levite, but Uzzah was not a priest. So it's possible for you to be a Levite and you are not a priest. So who are Levites? If you are a student of the Bible, you will discover that among the 12 tribes of Israel, it was only the Levites that was not given anything. They were not given lands, animals, either, because their responsibility was to serve the Lord. So the Levites, they don't have land. So what happened was that they distributed themselves to the remaining 11 tribes. Are you there? So we have Judah. Are you there? We have Judah, the land of Judah. Are you there? The Benjamites. Are you there? All of that tribes became a nation. Only the tribe of Levite did not become any nation, because they just spread themselves on the remaining 11 tribes. Are you getting what I'm saying? But for the fact that a person is a Levite does not mean he is a priest. So what differentiates them is now function. All Levites have the right to work in the temple, but not everyone working in the temple is a priest. Uzzah is a Levite, but he is not a priest. Now, the Levites, they work in the temple. Are you there? So, what will now differentiate priests from others is now function. For example, some Levites work in the temple as cleaners. So they sweep, they clean everything, and then ensure that the surroundings, is neat, and then everything is in place. Some Levites work in the temple as accountants. So when people bring offerings, they'll be the one to count it, and then are you there? Some Levites work in the temple as guards. So they are there to open the gate, to close the gate. Some work in the temple as watchers. So some are there watching in the morning, some will watch in the afternoon, some will watch in the night, some will watch in the midnight. They are doing shiftings like that. Some Levites work in the temple as cooks. Are you there? So they ensure that food is ready. Are you there for the people working to eat? Are you there? And then different offices, different departments. Are you there? But those whose job is to minister to the presence of God, those whose job is to make incense to God, are you there? Those whose job is to make atonement for the sins of the people are the priest. So what differentiates the priest who is a Levite from other Levites who are not priests is function. Are you there? So if I want to know if you are a priest or not, what I'm going to check is the things that you are doing. So how you function defines who you are. So if you are a priest, we will discern you by your function. So the things you are doing must point to your identity. Being a Levite is not enough. Your function will put you in your class. Going to church does not make you a priest. Your function will place you in your class. Are you getting what I'm saying? Having a Bible does not make you a Christian. Are you there? The things that you do for the Lord will place you in your class. Are you getting that? So Uzzah died because he was not a priest. Of course, he was a Levite, but
by function is not a priest. So he doesn't have the right to touch the ark. So let's continue with the reading. Verse 7. And the anger of the Lord was kindled against Uzzah, and God smote him there for his error. And there he died by the ark of God. And David was displeased because the Lord had made a breach upon Uzzah. And he called the name of the place Perez Uzzah. Perez Uzzah to this day. Now, when Uzzah died, the moment Uzzah touched the ark, God was displeased. And because God was displeased, the devil had time to strike him. So Uzzah died. Are you there? So God was displeased, and the death of Uzzah displeased David. So two things happened here. God was hungry, as it is. That's the literal way to describe this whole thing. Are you there? God was angry, and David was angry. And one thing you must notice this: when you are hungry, are you there? Your current state will affect your reactions. Are you there? So because the anger of the Lord was kindled against Uzzah, he died. Are you there? And because King David was also angry, then he made a decision. Are you there? That was why he requested that, this ark will not come to my place. Because they were actually bringing the ark to the place he has prepared for the ark. He said, no, this one that is killing people, no, you won't come here. So he made that decision out of anger. So out of anger, he directed the ark to another place. Are you there? So your mood will affect your reaction. Are you there? Your mood will affect your reaction. So if your actions are going to be right, if your actions are going to be wrong, it all boils down to your state, your mood. Are you getting what I'm saying? Take note of that. Now let's continue this. Let's continue the reading. Verse 9. And David was afraid of the Lord that day and said, how shall the ark of the Lord come to me? Can you see that? Because of what happened to Uzzah, David was scared. He said, Jesus, how will this ark come to me? This ark has not even gotten to my place. He's already killing people. What if he now gets to, no, this ark, no. This ark cannot come to me. Verse 10. So David would not remove the ark of the Lord unto him into the city of David. But David carried it aside into the house of Obed-Edom the Gittite. Can you see that? So because David would not want to bring the ark to his place, then he directed the ark to the house of Obed-Edom. Now, to David, he may be thinking that, okay, he's trying to save himself, he's trying to secure himself. Are you there? To him, he may feel, well, Obed-Edom maybe is not a popular person. Even if he dies, nobody will cry for him. Are you there? So take the ark to his place. Even if he dies, nobody knows him. So, are you there? But he doesn't know that God was involved in that decision. Are you there? Sometimes the things that we do, are you there? Because we want to hurt others. Are you there? Is actually what God will use to bless them. Are you there? The things that we say because we want to hurt others is actually what God will hear and respond to their cry. You see somebody that is barren, you are making jest of the person. Oh, you don't have it. That thing you are doing is a prayer to God for that person. You are helping the person to remind God of what he or she has asked. So David said, take this thing to the house of Obed-Edom. Even if he dies, nobody knows him, so nobody will cry. Just take it there. I get what I'm saying. And he doesn't know that God was involved in that thing. Are you there? That to Obed-Edom was the answer to his prayers. Maybe Obed-Edom has been praying for an encounter from the Lord, and finally God answered his prayers. So sometimes you think you are doing evil to others. You don't know that thing you are doing to them is actually an answer to their prayers, because God will use that thing for their good. He will use that thing for their upliftment. Verse 11. And the ark of the Lord continued in the house of Obed-Edom the Gittite 3 months. And the Lord blessed Obed-Edom and all his household. Verse 12. And it was told King David, saying, the Lord hath blessed the house of Obededom and all that pertains unto him because of the ark of God. So David went and brought up the ark of God from the house of Obededom into the city of David with gladness. Can you see that? Now you see, it was just a verse that explained what happened to Obededom, and that was let's take that verse again. Verse 11. And the ark of the Lord continued in the house of Obededom the Gittite 3 months. And the Lord blessed Obededom and all his household. Are you there? So this was a summary of the entire thing that happened in the house of Obededom for 3 months. So you must know that, you must understand that the Bible is actually a summary of events. So the Bible summarized the thing that happened in Obededom's house for 3 months in just a verse. Are you there? So you see, sometimes the distance between chapter 1 and chapter 2 can be 10 years. Sometimes it can be as long as it can be 20 years. So as you read the Bible, you must read with that consciousness. The Bible is, the Bible contains summary of events. Because if the events that happened in those days would be written fully, we will not even be able to carry the Bible. Because it will be a book that will be as big as a story building, if not more than that. Are you there? So the entire thing that happened in the house of Obed-Edom was explained. What happened in his house for 3 months was explained in one verse. Now you need to trust the Lord to open your eyes to see how Obed-Edom responded to the ark. Obed-Edom was aware that the ark had just, literally speaking now, he was aware that the ark had just killed Uzzah, because that was the mindset of the people. Oh, the ark has killed someone. The ark has killed someone. So to them now, the ark killed Uzzah. Are you there? So the news the news was spreading fast. So Obed-Edom understood what this ark that was brought to him had done to a notable man in that land. Are you there? He understood. So that fear was there. And because of what the ark did to Uzzah, Obed-Edom did not say, okay, I just put the ark there. He did not just put the ark in the store, lock the door, and then just, no. Are you there? He ministered to the ark. He ministered to the ark. Now, in ministering to the ark, there are several things to note. Are you there? Now, your heart must be right. For your ministrations to God to be accepted, to be acceptable, your heart must be right. You need to picture the way Obed-Edom ministered to the ark with his house. Because the Lord did not only bless him, the Lord blessed him, his house, and all that pertains to him. Meaning that the moment the ark landed in their house, he began to orient his people. Are you there? Let's just assume that it happened in this our time now. So you will have seen Obed-Edom coming to the ark, his phone on silent, so he can't receive calls there. And he would have already oriented his people. Once we are going to the ark, nobody should. All your phones must be on silent. Don't get distracted. You can't be before the ark and still be chatting online and still be doing one thing on your phone. He would have, taken his family through, an orientation class. And then when they are coming to the ark, you see them coming quietly and with a holy fear in their heart. You see, there's a way to minister to the ark. See, why did he bring the ark to the house of Obed-Edom? Of course, he thought he wanted to just kill him. But God had a plan. Are you there? Because to God, at that time, Obed-Edom was a priest. There was something that Obed-Edom knew that even the king did not know. Are you there? So that was, David was bringing the ark to his house because he felt he would just die. But God was the one that placed that thought into the heart of the king. Are you there? Because he knew that at that time, the only house, are you there, that can minister to his presence at that time is the house of Obed-Edom. So there was something that Obed-Edom, the priest, knew on the strength of his priesthood that even the king did not know. So the moment the ark landed, he understood what to do. He knew what to do. Are you getting what I'm saying? So he began to minister to the ark. Of course, he may not be as rich as others. Maybe he's even coming with a censer, an old censer like that. Are you there? But in all, the things he's using may not be new, they may not be classic. Are you there? But he still ministered to God. Even with those cheap things that he has in his house, he still ministered to God. And the ministrations was acceptable before the Lord. So to mean that more than the things you bring, your heart is more important to God than the physical things that you are bringing. So just imagine how Obed-Edom would have acted. Before he even appeared before the ark, he would have first prayed. He would have called, please everybody, let's gather. They will first pray and pray and pray so that they will not misbehave. You need to just picture the kind of fear, the kind of reference that was, shown to the ark. A very high level of reference. Maybe they will even fast before coming before the ark because they have to be ministering to the ark every day. So maybe it is after they are done with the administration for the day that they will now go and eat. Because a lot of boundaries would have been, put in place just to minister to that ark. Because if probably if they are eating before going there, they may just be saying they may misbehave. Sometimes when you have eaten, you are likely to misbehave, maybe because of how delicious the food is. So a lot of things will have been, set in place. Please, nobody should eat in this house until we are done with the ark, so that you will not get there and be misbehaving. Before you enter into that place, drop your phone. Are you there? And then let's gather to pray. They will first pray, worship God. Even if possible, do Bible study. Obed-Edom will also orient them. As we go now, this is what you will do. This is what you will do. This is how to walk. I will go in first. My wife will come in. All those formations have been, all those things, all those orientations has been given to them. Are you there? You see, when we begin to approach God lawlessly, at the end of the day, God will look like, someone that is merciless. Are you there? What I mean by merciless is somebody that does not have mercy. God will look like a wicked person because we are approaching him without proper understanding of the protocols of his presence. But in God's eyes, Obed-Edom was a priest. Of course, he was not known. Are you there? But God saw him as a priest. And God placed the thoughts in the heart of David to bring the ark to Obed-Edom because, as far as God is concerned, at that time, the only house that can minister correctly to the ark is the house of Obed-Edom. So you may not be popular as it is. They may not even know you in your compound. But if God knows you, is enough. Yes, you see, the visibility before men is not, you can't use visibility before men to judge visibility before God. If you are using visibility before men to judge visibility before God, you may be wrong. Are you getting what I'm saying? Because it is possible for someone to be visible before men and yet not be visible before God. And it is possible for someone to be visible before God and yet not that visible before men. Obed-Edom was not popular. It was not, not so much honor was done to him. Nobody was not, probably was not even seen as an honorable person. But yet, God knew him to be a priest. So my question to you is, did God know you as a priest? How is God seeing you? Are you there? Is he seeing you as a priest? Can God bring his ark to your house? Can he bring that ark to your house? Can the word of the Lord reside in your heart? Does he have a place in your heart? Does he have a resting place in your heart? Now let's go to the next verse. And it was so, verse 13, and it was so that when they bear the ark of the Lord, that when they that bear the ark of the Lord had gone 6 paces, he sacrificed oxen and fatlings And David danced before the Lord with all his might, and David was girded with a linen ephod. So David and all the house of Israel brought up the ark of the Lord with shouting and with the sound of the trumpet. Now, while I was looking at this chapter, the Lord pointed my attention to something. Now, please pay attention to this. You see, when the news got to David that the same ark that killed Uzzah, according to their view, anyways, the same ark that killed Uzzah has now blessed Obed-Edom. Something dropped in David's heart. Suddenly, David thought within himself, it will mean that there is something this man, Obed-Edom, there's something he knew that we did not know. So David did not only bring the ark out from the house of Obed-Edom. No. David also requested that Obed-Edom show them the way out. So there was something that Obed-Edom taught the people. So, well, I may not be popular in this land, but there's something I know that you don't know. So Obed-Edom had to orient them. This is what to do. You see, if you look at that story, it's likely you continually blame Uzzah. You are just putting all the blame on Uzzah. But when Obed-Edom now lectured the king, it now became clear to the king that even he himself was responsible for the death of Uzzah. Because there was a lot of errors in the things that they were doing initially. And that error was actually caused by the king. So it was this error that led to the death of Uzzah. It was this error that created an avenue for Uzzah's misbehavior. If the king had not ventured into that error, by the instruction he gave to those that brought the ark, Uzzah's life would have been preserved. So on the strength of the teachings that Obed-Edom gave to the king, it became clear to the king that, he was at fault. And I'm going to show you the things that Obed-Edom pointed out. Are you getting what I'm saying? The Bible did not show these things. The Bible just told us that the king sent forth, but by revelation, are you there? I knew that Obed-Edom taught the king something, because this second time now, there was a way they handled the ark. Are you there? They were now handling the ark better than the first time. It will mean that somebody taught them something. And I'm going to point out the errors that was made. Now, number one, according to the book of Chronicles, 1 Chronicles chapter 15, verse 13, the ark of the Lord is not supposed to be carried on a cart. Are you there? The ark of the Lord is not supposed to be carried on a cart. The ark was on the cart. So when the horse shook, the ark, appeared to be falling. So Uzzah stretched forth his hand. Meanwhile, the ark is not supposed to be carried on a cart. And who gave that instruction? It was the king. Oh, go and bring forth the ark, put it on the cart. You see, maybe the reason David felt that the ark can be carried on a cart is because, now he's rich, he has money. Are you there? So, you see, we have to be careful with what we call civilization. We have to be careful with what we call modernization. You see, there are some spiritual patterns that even what we call civilization, is not expected to change. Some things has to remain ancient. As the world is, improving, increasing in technology, there are some ancient parts that we need to hold on to. Because if we allow this changing world to change those things, we will be in error. Are you getting what I'm saying? The ark is not supposed to be on a cart. The ark is supposed to be carried on the shoulders of the priest. Are you there? So it's supposed to be carried on the shoulder, not on the cart. Are you there? And that you'll see in the book of First Chronicles chapter 15, verse 13. So that's the first mistake. That was the first error. So, maybe David was feeling, well, in those days, people carried it on their shoulder. Carrying ark on your shoulder is old school. The same way we feel in this generation. Carrying the ark, how can you be carrying this precious ark on your shoulder? That's old school. So he got a very expensive cart. They put it on the cart. We want to prove to God that we are the new school. Be careful of what you call new school. Because you see, in priesthood, there are some old patterns that cannot be changed. The world may be changing, but those things are not expected to change. The ark should be on the shoulders, not on the cart. That's the first error. So can you see now? The ark, by instruction, is expected to be carried on the shoulder. So if it is carried on the shoulder, are you there? We can have 4 priests, 2 at the front, 2 at the back. And if it is carried on the shoulder, there can be more than 4. It depends on what they are using to carry it, but it has to be carried on the shoulder. Are you there? So, David wanted to join the new school. That's old school. How can people be carrying something on their shoulder? That's old. That's old fashioned. We are the new school, so put it on the cart. Are you there? Putting it on the cart is like putting that thing on maybe a Mercedes Benz, putting it on the most expensive car. Are you there? Very expensive car. So David was thinking that, because the cart is very expensive, that was the modern means of transportation. God will appreciate it. Meanwhile, that thing that he was calling old school was what God commanded. You see, as we begin to work with God, we must understand that the instructions of God cannot be old. Are you there? The one that has received the instruction may grow old. But you see, the instructions cannot be old. And because the instructions of God cannot be old, it therefore means that the speakings of God cannot be outdated. So it is impossible for you to say that, and this thing that God said that time is no longer true. No. God's instruction cannot be old. And because they cannot be old, they cannot be outdated. So you are not expected to change them because you feel you are now part of the new generation. Are you there? That's it. As good as it is to, there have been debates. Some people say that when you come to the altar, use hard copy Bible. Some people say that, it doesn't matter. Use tab. You can use tab. Some people are even saying that using tab to preach is a sin. Use your old copy Bible. And things. Use your hard copy. Bible. Why will you use tab? Blah blah blah. You see, using tab to preach is not bad. Are you there? But you must ensure that you are not distracted, because there are a lot of distractions that can come on that thing you are using. If your data is on, a lot of messages can pop up. And then the man that is preaching is now trying to check a message. He may now lift a song. They are singing, but God knows that the man is distracted. So I'm just trying to show you some modern things that we should approach with care. So if you are using your phone as your Bible while preaching, it's not a sin. But be careful not to get distracted. That's why it is not safe to use your hard copy Bible, because there are no distractions. No message will pop up. Are you getting what I'm saying? So we need to be careful of these things that we call old school and these things that we are calling new school. Are you there? You see, there are a lot of things that we call old that are not really old. Are you there? That's the truth. So if of course, we should advance. We should be civilized. But in our civilization, we must not get distracted. We must not get distracted. There are people that have stopped coming to church because they can join church online. So they are listening to message, and they are still cooking in the kitchen. They just love to be at home. Hey, go and check the rice. Okay. Oh yes, sir. Oh yes. God, Rema. They are jotting. But at a point, they quickly leave their jottings. They go and check the soup. Are you there? To them, they are the new school. We don't need to go to church. We can watch online. Of course, you watch online and you will jot something. But I just hope that you are not putting the hack on the cart. It has to be on the shoulder. That thing that looks like new school. How will I be trekking to fellowship when I can connect online? And the house is closed. Of course, connecting online is not a sin, but we must not abuse it. It's for people that, that for It's for people that they it's for people that they can't make it. Are you there? By a very strong reason, are you there? They want to come, but they can't just make it. It's for such people. People that are very far away. Not you that you are close, you still want to join online because there are things you want to do. No. Let's be careful of what you call new school so that we'll not end up acting like David. And this is the problem. Most of these things that we now do, we may not even be the one that will suffer directly. It was David that requested that the ark should be carried on a cart. But unfortunately, it was Uzzah that died as a result of that instruction. So some of the things you will do that are not right, you may not even be the one that will suffer from it. It may be people close to you. You see, your Uzzah is likely to suffer from some of the decisions you are making. You are always connecting online. Every Sunday, you are not going to church. You are just there. You'll be eating and you'll be listening. Oh, glory to God. You take a bottle of Coke. Oh, glory to God. Meanwhile, when you are in church, you can't be eating and be listening. You have to focus. Are you there? But you want to do so many things. So you stay at home, you hold your phone. In your mind, of course. In your mind, you have connected. No. Are you getting what I'm saying? Let's not get distracted. Thank God for the civilization. But we should not be distracted by it. Are you there? There are people that are unavoidably absent for one reason or the other. Those people, yes, they can join online. But not for you that you don't just not for you that the reason you are not coming physically is because you are just being lazy. No, no. You have to be careful so that your user will not suffer. Now, your user can be your children because some parents are involving in this. And then their children too, they are learning how not to go to church. So when those children too grow, they say, it doesn't matter going to church. I'm following God, I'm following God. So all they are doing is on their phone. They don't even know what it means to fellowship with brethren. It's all on their phone. Let's be careful. The ark of the Lord must be carried on the shoulder and not on it must be carried on the shoulder and not on the cart. Let's be careful of the things that we call old school. Are you there? Let's be careful. Let's be careful. Let's be careful. Now, the second mistake that David made was this. The ark that was carried on the cart was not covered. Are you there? Now, because the Bible specified the coverings that should be placed on the ark. So this ark was not covered. These were the things that Obed-Edom was opening their eyes to see. Of course, Obed-Edom was not the king, but he had the knowledge that even the king does not have. Are you there? So you see, in the day that your generation will want to seek God, they will come to you if you are a priest. People may not know you now. Are you there? You may be like Obed-Edom. You are just in your, secret corner, loving God, serving God. They may not even respect you now, but you continue to follow God. Remain consistent. In the day that your generation will need God, in the day that people will want to seek God, they will find you. They will find you because you are a priest. So Obed-Edom now told them, say, yeah, this is mistake number 2. This ark was not covered. So it was on the strength of the orientation that was received from Obed-Edom that they did the right thing. Now, look at this picture. There are 4 coverings for the ark. The first one is the badger skin. The second one is the ram skin. The third one is the goat skin. The fourth one is the fine lining. Are you there? Now, the first one that will be placed on the ark is the fine lining. That's it from the picture. After the fine lining, then they put the goat hair. Is another covering. Are you there? Then the third one they will put is the ram skin. Meanwhile, this ram skin has been dyed in red. That's why you see it having color red. Are you there? So it's possible that the goat's skin too has been dyed in maybe black, or are you getting what I'm saying? So the outer covering, which is number 4, the one you will see, the foremost one is the badger skin. Are you getting what I'm saying? But it happens to be that this ark that they carried was not covered. And then you can see that in the book of Numbers chapter 4. That's talks about the covering of the ark. Now this is the animal called badger. This is the animal called badger. So when you hear badger skin, they are referring to the skin of this animal. So those were the two major mistakes that was made. Number one, the ark was not carried on the shoulders of the priest. It was carried on a cart. And number two, it was not covered. And then the four coverings for the ark is the badger skin, the ram skin, the goat hair, and the fine lining. So the badger skin is the foremost one. Is the fourth one. The first one that will be placed on the ark is the fine lining, followed by the goat hair, followed by the ram skin, and followed by the badger skin. Are you there? Because if David had followed order, are you there? If he had done the right thing, Uzzah's life would have been preserved. Because if the ark was resting on the shoulder of the priest, there's no way the ark will shake. Are you there? So the mistakes that we make most of the times, we have more weight on others. Sometimes we are the one making the mistakes, are you there? But others, we feel it more than we do because we are leaders. So that's why we have to be careful as a leader. Are you there? We have to be careful as leaders. I mean, not to do things that can endanger the lives of those that are following us. Are you getting what I'm saying? The Lord bless you. In the name of Jesus. Be a priest. Be a priest. So I leave you with this instruction. Be a priest. Because in the day when your generation will need to find God, they will find you. You see, you can't find God if you have not found a priest. Don't worry, they may not honor you now. Are you there? People may be looking down on you. Nobody may be celebrating you now. But remain a priest. Continue with your priesthood. I can assure you. In the day when your generation will need God, they will locate you. God bless you.